You're listening to Swift News, your daily news briefing in just 10 minutes. This is episode 63, and it's July 2025. Let's get into today's stories. Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the major headlines from around the globe. We're trying to, cut through the noise, distilling this really fascinating mix of politics, tech, human stories, environment, to get to what really matters for you. It's kind of your shortcut to being informed.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating today is just the sheer breadth. It really shows how interconnected everything is, from, say, economic shifts impacting one country to acts of local heroism somewhere else. We'll look for patterns, the impacts, and maybe what it all means for the bigger picture.
Right. So kicking us off, a pretty significant development in global law enforcement. We're seeing news about Nehal being arrested in the U.S. India requested it, and he's facing extradition on fraud charges.
Yeah, and this isn't just like a one-off arrest. It really speaks to this growing international cooperation, especially on financial crime. It brings up big questions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About jurisdiction, justice across borders, things that fundamentally impact, well, global economic trust.
Definitely. And speaking of India and the U.S., there's this interesting angle on trade talks. India's Commerce Minister, Piyush Goyal, basically said they're negotiating from strength, not feeling pressured by deadlines, even with some criticism at home.
That's quite a statement. It highlights a subtle but important shift, I think, in global power dynamics. You see emerging economies like India asserting more leverage now. It's a tricky balance, though, national interest versus global agreements.
Always is. Now, shifting to something with a very real human element, Gaza ceasefire talks. There seems to be some positive movement. Hamas apparently gave a positive response to a 60-day truce proposal.
Yeah, positive response is good, but the details are still being hammered out, it seems.
And the details are everything in these situations, right?
Exactly. Prisoner exchanges, aid, long-term status.
Yeah.
It's incredibly complex. But look, any step toward de-escalation, even with fuzzy implementation, it offers a glimmer of hope, and it impacts global stability, humanitarian efforts. It's critical.
Okay, bringing it back a bit domestically, in India, Bihar's opposition coalition might get a boost. Pashupati Paras's party possibly joining, could shake up state elections.
Political realignments, always worth watching.
And globally, an environmental crisis unfolding in Greece. Severe wildfires in Evia. Though they seem to be making some progress in Crete. Thousands evacuated, though.
Right, so you have political shifts here, environmental disasters there. It just reminds us of that constant interplay, governance, human action, the natural world. How governments respond, locally or internationally, it directly hits people.
Absolutely. Okay, let's pivot to the markets. How are things looking? India's Nifty 50 surged, up 0.6% to 25,700. IT and banking seem to be driving it.
Yeah, that kind of uptick, especially led by strong sectors like IT and banking, that's usually a good sign. Suggests investor confidence, maybe strong economic activity, positive sentiment, basically.
And the U.S. markets rallied after the holiday. NASDAQ up 1.2%, hitting 20,650. This was interesting, though, even with rising oil prices.
That is noteworthy. Rising oil often acts as a drag on markets, right? Increases costs. So the fact that tech, especially, performs so strongly suggests other factors are at play. Maybe really good corporate earnings or positive economic data overriding the energy concerns show some underlying resilience.
And back in India, GST collections holding steady, around 1.86 lakh crore in June.
Steady and robust GST numbers, that's a key indicator of economic health. Shows consumption is consistent. It's a solid base for government revenue, too. Very important for stability.
Now, here's a fascinating twist in global trade. China. They're imposing pretty hefty tariffs, like 27 to almost 35% on European brandy.
Brandy. Seems specific.
Exactly. It's seen as escalating trade tensions, especially with U.S. allies like the EU.
Right. It's almost certainly not just about the brandy itself. It's strategic. It's a way to exert economic pressure, influence geopolitics without maybe a direct confrontation with the U.S. Shows how trade measures become tools, impacting industries way beyond the initial target.
A global chessboard indeed, but on a brighter note for growth. Nigeria's tech startups. They've attracted a huge amount of foreign investment, $1.5 billion. Big boost for their digital economy.
That's fantastic news. $1.5 billion is serious capital. It really highlights the growing recognition of Africa's digital potential. Investors see the innovation, the talent. We've seen this across the continent, but Nigeria is clearly a major hub.
Great to see. Okay, let's dive into future tech and innovation. India's Axiom 4 mission. The data from Shubhanshu Shukla's experiments on the ISS. It's apparently already driving new space tech innovations back here.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of how space research pays off on Earth, even private missions. The data from microgravity, extreme environments.
Yeah.
It often leads to breakthroughs in materials, medicine, computing, really valuable stuff.
And speaking of applying tech, Japan. An impressive 80% of prefectures now use drones for disaster response.
80%. That's widespread adoption. It shows how drones can be integrated effectively into emergency services. Faster assessment, supply and delivery, searching for survivors. It can genuinely save lives.
And here's a very specific example of tech saving lives. A U.S. startup. They have an AI flood prediction model. It's proving crucial in Texas flood zones.
AI for disaster prediction. That's powerful, especially with extreme weather increasing. These models analyze tons of data, give early warnings, allow for proactive steps, evacuations, resource deployment. It's about getting ahead of the disaster, not just reacting.
Makes sense. And in healthcare, South Korea, an AI platform there has improved diagnostics for, get this, 700,000 patients?
700,000. That scale is incredible. It really underscores AI's transformative potential in medicine. It's not just theory anymore. It means faster, more accurate diagnoses becoming accessible. Big implications for public health.
Or looking even further ahead, 6G. Japan's trials hit 180 gigabits per second.
Wow, 180 GBPs. That's mind-bendingly fast.
Commercialization targeted by 2030?
That kind of speed changes everything. How we interact with data. Think truly immersive AR/VR, really smart cities, autonomous systems everywhere. It's the groundwork for the next digital age.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. Sports, some inspiring performances. The Neeraj Chopra Classic in Bengaluru, India's javelin star won gold again.
He's incredible. A performance like that, it elevates the whole sport in India. And he's such a powerful role model for young athletes, isn't he? Inspires participation.
Definitely. And in women's cricket, Smriti Mandhana, still holding strong at number 3 in T20I rankings, led India to another T20 win too.
Her consistency is amazing. Shows real skill and leadership. It highlights the growing strength of women's cricket globally and India's key role in that.
Tennis now. Yuki Bumbre reached the Wimbledon men's doubles quarterfinal.
That's huge. Getting deep into a Grand Slam like Wimbledon. Great exposure for Indian tennis and really inspirational for players back home.
Soccer quick hit. Brazil's men's team got a 2-0 World Cup qualifier win.
Solid win. Important for momentum and standings in those qualifiers, especially for a team like Brazil.
And Kenya's women's marathon team set a new record at a meet in Paris.
Fantastic achievement. Setting records always showcases that incredible athletic prowess and the strong Kenyan marathon tradition.
All right, let's look at culture and entertainment. India's Houseful 5 crossed 350 crore at the box office.
Huge numbers. That's what, around $42 million US?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Really solidifies Akshay Kumar's star power.
Yeah, it's not just money. It shows cultural resonance, right? What audiences connect with. Reflects market trends in a major film industry.
And Nollywood shining globally. Nigeria's film festival in New York drew 110,000 people.
Wow. 110,000 attendees in New York. That speaks volumes. Shows the growing global reach and influence of African cinema. People want diverse stories.
Good to see. Also in the arts, a Paris exhibit on eco-friendly art is getting international acclaim.
Interesting. Suggests a growing public interest in art that tackles environmental issues. Culture, engaging with critical conversations, raising awareness creatively.
And manga continues its global dominance. Japan's industry reported $4.8 billion in global revenue.
$4.8 billion. It's just immense, isn't it? Highlights the massive cultural and economic footprint of manga, far beyond Japan. It's a true global phenomenon.
Okay, let's shift now to some urgent environmental challenges and, unfortunately, some tragic news. Flash floods in south-central Texas. 13 lives lost and, tragically, 20 girls missing from a summer camp.
Oh, that's just devastating. It really hits home. The human cost of these extreme weather events underscores the need for better preparedness, warning systems, especially for vulnerable groups. Just heartbreaking.
And in India, the Uttarkashi cloudburst toll has risen to 25, with forecasts for more heavy rain in Uttarakhand.
Seeing these events back-to-back, Texas, Uttarakhand, it paints a stark picture. Climate volatility and the ongoing risk means immediate response and long-term adaptation are just crucial.
Further south in India, careless floods have displaced 300,000 people. Red alerts out for coastal areas.
300,000 displaced. The scale is enormous. The impact on lives, homes, livelihoods. Those red alerts are vital for evacuation, but the long-term recovery effort needed is massive.
But amidst the challenges, there are positive environmental stories, too. Canada's solar farms now powering 2 million homes. a significant cut in emissions.
That's fantastic progress. 2 million homes. It shows large-scale renewable energy adoption is possible. Tangible steps towards decarbonization. Really encouraging.
And in Brazil, Amazon reforestation efforts hit 11 million trees planted in 2025.
11 million trees. That's a substantial effort in a vital ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's crucial for mitigating deforestation, fighting climate change, protecting biodiversity, a real investment in the planet.
Okay, let's round out our deep dive with some truly inspiring human stories. Individual Impact, a Kenyan teacher's mobile STEM lab, empowering 10,000 rural students.
That's incredible. Bridging educational gaps, bringing critical skills to kids who might miss out, empowering future generations through sheer innovation and dedication. Amazing.
An Indian doctor's low-cost dialysis clinic is aiding 8,000 people in Uttar Pradesh.
Wow. Making life-saving treatment affordable. That's healthcare innovation focused on equity, addresses a huge need, improves quality of life for thousands. Profound impact.
In Brazil, a farmers' organic cooperative is boosting incomes for 7,000 families.
That's the power of community action, right?
Okay.
And sustainable agriculture. Financial stability plus environmentally sound practices. A win-win.
And finally, back in Texas, a U.S. engineer's flood-resistant homes are supporting 6,000 residents.
A direct, practical response to the environmental challenges we just talked about, offering real, resilient solutions. Innovation meeting urgent needs right where people live.
So when you pull all these threads together, global arrests, local heroes, market surges, flood warnings, it shows a world that's just constantly shifting, constantly facing challenges, but also finding solutions.
Exactly. You see this constant push and pull, don't you, between huge global issues, climate, economy, conflict, and then this incredible human capacity for, well, innovation, resilience, compassion. Problems arise, but solutions often emerge from unexpected places, from individuals, from communities.
So as you reflect on all this, maybe think about this. How might these different stories, AI floods, a marathon record, trade tariffs, how might they connect or influence things in your own community, your industry? What unexpected connections might you find as you go about your day? That's your world in 10 minutes with Swift News. From global crises to local heroes, we keep you informed and inspired. Join us tomorrow for episode 64 and follow us on X to share your thoughts on today's headlines. Stay curious, stay informed. This is Swift News signing off.